did My Mama start?
My mama started when, I guess, as a concept in my mind, it started when I had my eldest two kids. I have 4 kids. The eldest 2 are twins. And back then there wasn't the free childcare support that there is now, which meant that having newborn twins, meant that I had to take a career break. And I spent 3 years focusing solely on my daughters. Personally, it was very difficult. First of all, the fact that your focus is caring for 2 infants who are growing. It's very rewarding. But back then it felt very isolating as well. You're just removed from your usual routine, from your friends, from your colleagues. Everyone else continues with their lives, and as a new parent, I think it's something that, especially mothers, during their maternity leave, I'm sure everyone feels it to an extent, that you feel this sense of isolation. And I was trying to figure out how to answer my many questions that I had as the girls were growing up. And it all felt a bit like solving one big jigsaw puzzle, a little bit of information from here, you're not sure, so you go to someone else. If you have another issue, then you have to find another expert or another entity. So it felt a little bit all over the place. And the same situation, I encountered the same situation then when I had my youngest two, 8 years later. So I was like, okay, there's some, there's a lack here. There's a missing service, a missing one-stop shop where parents can find the support, the expert advice, and as well, not just support from the experts, but as well support from a community of parents who are in the same situation. So that's where the My Mama concept started building in my head. I spent 10 years in a completely different industry, doing something completely different. I studied food technology, so I spent 10 years developing food and beverage products. Which was something that I loved because it gave me this creative outlet.
Very creative.
And something that I'm still very proud of, because you see your product in the market, I'm like, and you just, think back to how excited you were. But in a way, I'm doing the same thing, but on different products. So creating a service that people need, that people will love. So the whole process is exactly that. You do the market research, you test out the concept, you adjust as you go along, you adjust to different markets, you get the client's feedback, and you make sure that you're serving a particular purpose. So yes. So basically, when I was pregnant with my youngest, I decided to leave my full-time job, which, of course, many people thought it was completely crazy. It was crazy. So I
took the plunge.
I took the plunge. It was the right time. I felt like it was the right time for me personally, because I felt like I couldn't grow further in the position I was. And also as a person, I needed to be freer to express my ideas, my creativity. And I had this concept in mind that had been there for quite a number of years. And it was a matter of now or never. And I think there's nothing worse than living with a what if, especially when you can't do something about it. Because, in many cases, we have to live with what ifs. But when you can be a little courageous and take that step, and, I always tell myself, what's the worst that can happen? It fails, and I find another job. That was the very simple
And it is as simple
train
as
of
that.
thought behind it. It is as simple as that, but it still takes courage, especially when you have a family depending on you. Because if you're on your own, you fail, and there's no repercussions on anyone else, at least.
Yes.
So it was a lot of planning, even financially, to be able to take me through the process. I got an in-between job until everything was ready, basically. So I found employment when I was 3 months pregnant by someone who was fully supportive of the situation. And
they must have been, for sure. They must have been.
In fact, it's something that I'm still amazed in. It takes courage to employ someone who is going on maternity leave in 6 months.
Yes.
But it's something that I still appreciate, and that approach I wish to be able to replicate myself. Because as a mom, it's not easy to feel supported by your employer. Of course, I understand employers fully. I'm in that situation myself now. But offering that level of flexibility.
And trust as well.
And trust, of course.
You would not.
But then I gave my 1,000%, even while I was on maternity leave. I was checking in, making sure that everything is, continuing in my absence as well.
It is something that money can't buy.
No, absolutely.
The fact that someone gives you the opportunity right at the time when you need it the most, I think that's something that no money, no position, no extra benefits can buy. Definitely. So it's a very humanistic approach, and it's very human and it's very real. So you can't replicate that or compensate that other than reciprocating the favor in a way.
And you give more than you should. That the more you give more than what's expected from you, definitely. And that's something I think that employers should keep in mind. Not just when it comes to working moms, but working parents, because I hate this concept that we give working moms the flexibility. No, it should be working parents, so that the load is always
it's shared as well. It is.
So I started this role. In the meantime, I was as well freelancing, as well in product development, and I started working on the My Mama concept at night usually. That was my only time where I could think quietly. I prepared the business plan. Everything was ready to go. I applied for grants. As soon as I was good to go, as soon as I registered as an employee of my company, and I was ready to go live, then COVID hit. So it was October 2020. I had to change. Just before October 2020, I had to change my business plan completely. I had to reskill myself because I needed a website all of a sudden. I was about to start as a brick and mortar activity, and now all of a sudden I have to do it digitally. So I reskilled. I built the website myself using a no-code approach, of course.
Same here. I did that myself. So it's quite a pleasant experience, and it's much cheaper as well, because if you do it yourself, at least you spare yourself from
again you limit the
for sure. But unless you need an online shop, a website can easily be done with a no-code approach. So when it comes to the online shop, it can still be done because there are options nowadays. But the price will go up if you need an online shop.
Again, I was minimizing the risks that I was taking, minimizing the upfront investment, and I said, let's give it a go, see how it goes. I got a grant as well, which really helped, and I started with a team of freelancers. I would say 99% of them are still with the company to this day, but I was selling air. I was selling the idea to them. Listen, I have this concept. What do you think? Would you be willing to discuss delivering a course on this topic?
All right.
Or would you be willing to offer online consultations in an era where online consultations were completely new? So I was selling air, and I was happy that there was an entire team who believed in this concept as much as I did.